Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Francisco Garcia.
And we're going to do an extra special section for more Jurassic Park. Because you can never have too much Jurassic Park in your life.
That's true. The greatest movie of all time. You can always talk about it.
I know, it really is. And since he wasn't be on the last podcast with Marley and Dunnigan, but he did see the Jurassic Park in 3D with us.
I did.
He has to come on in. So we're doing an extra special bonus podcast.
Let's do it.
For more Jurassic Park than you could shake a stick at.
Here, stick, boys. Catch a stick. Want the stick? Well, no wonder you're extinct. God. Greatest movie of all time.
Now, do you remember your experience of seeing Jurassic Park in 1993?
Of course
for the first time.
That was that was the second movie I ever saw. The first was Aladdin. But I saw Jurassic Park, I was 5 years old, I think.
Now, wasn't Aladdin the same year as Jurassic Park, 1993?
Yes, it was.
I think it was, yeah.
Yes.
I saw that in theaters, too.
Yeah.
Did you see the Pinecrest as well, too?
No, I actually saw it at the Regal, or not Regal, I mean the Cinema 5 in Sonora.
See, I saw it at Cinema 5, and then for everybody else in the world who doesn't know what the Pinecrest Theater is, it's one of these kind of cool summer outdoor theaters they do up at a lake.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Do they still do it?
They still do it, but the movies just have never interested me anymore. It's just like, I guess because family movies, I don't know, like, before I remember, like, back in the 90s, they used to always kind of have, like, they had the kids kind of cartoons, and obviously Disney movies were way better back then.
Yeah.
And they seemed to always carry something else. Like, I remember they had, like, Titanic there, or they had something that was just big for the time. I mean, they never had any rated R movies, but...
I think I saw the Brady Bunch there.
Yeah, stuff like that.
You know, I didn't see Jurassic Park there, but I saw the Lost World there.
Yeah, see, they had stuff like that. I think I saw Lost World there, too.
Which, that actually used to be my favorite out of the trilogy, but now I've realized, no, the best is Jurassic Park. It always will be.
No, I always had the toss-up for the longest time of, like, what my favorite movie was, and it floated around between Jurassic Park, Top Gun, Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and things like that, and even Point Break. But it's like, I settled, it's like, no, you know what, it's Jurassic Park.
It is amazing.
I mean, when I saw that at 5 years old for the first time, I remember I was sitting by myself, and that was when movie theaters were extraordinarily loud.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, the speakers themselves were just cranked to the max, and the whole theater would shake whenever, like, the Tyrannosaurus Rex came out.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, in the new presentation... It was loud, but movies have not gotten to that point. Sometimes I'm at the movie theaters nowadays, and I think it's way too quiet.
Yeah,
I feel like you need the remote to turn it up.
I feel like they have like old people syndrome there or something. Like too many people complained.
It must have been too many old people complaining because movie theaters used to be like a concert almost.
Well, yeah, they used to be, but now it's just too loud. Too quiet. But
too loud.
It's too loud. Turn it down. Turn it down. But anyway, what about you? I mean. I'm glad. Spencer and I saw Jurassic Park a couple years ago, again in theaters.
Yeah, we saw it at the State Theater in Modesto.
Yeah, and it was cool because they had this like this science teacher come out and talk a little bit about like the different species of dinosaurs that were like in the Central Valley of California for a while. So that was kind of cool, and they had like some other cool like dinosaur auction things before the movie. The only problem is
the Jaws book that was signed.
Yeah, this Jaws book. I was gonna
put a bid on it, but I think you got outbid.
I got outbid, but
it was a silent auction.
Either way, though, it was cool. The only problem is the guys were lazy and they didn't get a actually copy of the film. They just blew up a DVD of it and put it.
And it was like one of those ones you're kind of like, you could at least get the Laserdisc copy.
I know, it was just
because that DVD copy for like the longest time, it was just like, it had some of the sweetest special features on, but it was just they did a horrible job on Steven Spielberg's movies on DVD. I thought.
Yeah, they really kind of just downgraded.
Excluding a few, like Close Encounters, that's a 2-disc one, but so many of them they were just single-disc movies. Yeah. Lost World, Jurassic Park. Saving Private Ryan was like that. Jaws was like that.
Was like that, yeah. And
the quality of the DVD kind of... So it's like the second Blu-ray comes out, it's like, oh, gotta get this.
It's amazing, yeah. That's why, like... And one thing I love that they do, that Universal does, is they put them all on, like, digital copies, so I can just put them on my iPod or something like that. Because I love always having Jurassic Park with me at all times.
And those Blu-ray transfers, it's like, oh, they're so good. So amazing.
Yeah, they're incredible.
And then they add special features. Really, the special features, they're kind of the same special features, just kind of redone again.
Yeah, basically.
The coolest part about them, I guess, is just having, like, the 20 years later, or I guess it's technically, like, 19 at that point.
Yeah.
Year later, like, interviews.
Yeah,
but really, it's kind of the same thing you saw before. But it's so cool that they got the brand new special features. They have all the archive special features from the other DVDs and so on.
Yeah.
It expands across the entire 3 movies.
I don't know why, but Jurassic Park, for me, it's always been considered the best hidden secret as far as blockbusters are concerned. Because this movie is amazing. For me, it's just there's nothing wrong with the movie, but it never gained as much popularity and hasn't held on to its popularity as much as, I don't know, Jaws or Star Wars. Or
well, to me,
Indiana Jones.
I always looked at Jurassic Park. To me and you, is like that was our like kind of Star Wars Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You know, to be like I always think of we have that obsession with Jurassic Park that other people have with Star Wars or Indiana Jones,
and people don't understand it. And it amazes me that nobody cares about dinosaurs as much anymore. Like when I was a kid, that was like the thing. Everyone loved dinosaurs, and it feels like it's like you have to pull teeth to make dinosaur video games, books, movies, or anything
never
nowadays.
any of that. I mean, yeah, dinosaurs never come out in major pictures. Like the only thing close is like that newest King Kong movie.
Oh yeah, and that was like,
but nobody remembers the T-Rex in that. Like that's not what they think about when they think
I
of
thought
that
that was cool that they did that, but yeah, you never see that or anything.
And especially video games. Like there's almost no. Like the closest thing you get is you get Turok, and Turok's a comic.
Yeah.
But that's about the closest thing. Even though Turok likes to step away from the dinosaurs too, which is always kind of the downfall of some Turok
yeah,
games.
and Turok kind of went bad when they did that. Like,
and then you got Dino Crisis, but Dino Crisis is just kind of like it had its run for a quick bit, and that was it.
Yeah.
Which is like Dino Crisis is an amazing game, but I just do not think dinosaurs interest the average Joe.
I never understood that because for me they're the coolest thing ever.
To me, they're cool. I think they're much scarier than anything else. Scarier than zombies, scarier than vampires, scarier than space.
Yeah, in a way, it's almost good that they haven't got over property because for example,
you don't want to
nowadays
become like zombies.
With zombies, with Walking Dead just killed zombies, and
well, yeah, The Walking Dead like ruined. It's like that was. I think that was literally the final nail in the coffin of zombies, if you could so speak it like that.
Yeah, for a long time, zombies were the best hidden secret. They were so cool, and then, we're saying 28 Days Later came out.
Yeah, sadly enough, I think that's your 28 Days Later is the original start of the downfall of zombies.
And now you see
Walking Dead is the final. We put the total like kibosh on it.
It just makes me kind of like almost sad. You know what it makes me feel like? You know that stereotype of the Indian looking out over a trash heap and then crying?
The 70s commercial?
Yeah, that's what I think of, but think of this. You're going up on top of like a hill, let's say in Sonora where we live, and you look over a street with people like doing the zombie parade, and you cry.
That's
you
what I feel too, because
this is what I feel like.
Well, it's funny because you think about 10 years ago, zombies was it was such an underground thing. Like if you told somebody you like zombies, like a regular person, like in school, they looked at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
They're like, why? That's the stupidest shit ever. Why would you think that's cool?
They're not scary. They're just like slow, dumb things. But now they had to like up them for the average person because nobody can have like the attention span to like watch an old zombie movie nowadays. So they have to run now. Even they sometimes talk.
And it's not realistic.
Shoot. It's just stupid, And it's
it's just one of those things. It's just like, okay, and like, yeah, okay, like, you play a game like Left 4 Dead, and the zombies run in it, and it works kind of for a video game. A video game can be slightly different. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's fine. Or you play the newer Resident Evil games, and the virus kind of expands in different directions, or they're using a different virus, so they find ways to talk it around. It's like they're not traditional zombies anymore.
Yeah.
But why do they gotta keep going away from the traditional zombie? What's wrong with the traditional zombie?
They've really just kind of given up on it. People just aren't scared by it anymore, I guess.
I'll give credit to The Walking Dead, like the comic book and whatnot, for having they do keep the traditional zombie. They're not running zombies.
Yeah.
Just the thing they keep in there that's the wrong thing is they keep all the stupid characters and like the whole point of see if you watch Jason or Freddy, I feel you want to see Jason and Freddy win. They're really the good guys in my opinion. But in a zombie movie, I want to see his characters survive. Yeah, people are going to die along the way, but I want smart characters. The whole point is survival.
Yeah.
But
getting back to Jurassic Park. Now, when I watch Jurassic Park, for me, it's that same feeling, as I said, when someone watches Star Wars, or again, 20 years later or something, where it blows my mind. And I was telling Spencer about this earlier, that it's one of the only movies that I really can. People say, "Oh, I can quote every line in the movie." I can quote every line in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It's just memorable lines.
I love the dialogue.
Steven Spielberg and Michael Crichton really were ingenious with the screenplay for that. I think there was somebody else involved in it too. But
there's David Cope.
It was something, yeah. And they really did.
And
genius.
And David Cope continued to write the screenplays for Lost World and Jurassic Park 3.
Okay. And
he's also directed a bunch of stuff too. He's kind of done. I think he's directed stuff.
But with this,
well, his name's on a lot of things. That's all I have to say.
Okay. With this new Jurassic Park 3D coming out, I wanted to see it. I don't really like 3D very much, to be honest with you, but I wanted to see it because I love seeing my favorite movie on.
I think it's more just seeing it on the big screen.
Exactly, and I'm just hoping that this will catch a little bit. I'm hoping some people will be interested enough to be like, okay, maybe we can do Jurassic Park 4. Maybe this will be great because I loved it. I mean, everyone. I mean, when Jurassic Park 3 came out, yeah, sure, everyone turned it off immediately, like, oh, this is terrible. This is like when Godfather 3 came out. But you know what? I rewatch it, and it's still not that bad.
You know, I like Jurassic Park 3 quite a bit. I don't think it's as good as the first two.
It's not.
But I actually, and the thing about it, too, I've always appreciated a lot, because if you read the books, the cool thing about that is they kind of took some extra scenes that they would never use in 1 or 2.
Like the pterodactyls.
Yeah, like the pterodactyl scene, and they threw it in, and the riverboat scene. That's kind of in there, too.
Yeah, that's in there, too, in a way, yeah.
Anyway, I mean, it's different. But the cool thing is that they kind of like took all this, like the extra scenes in the books that's like, we didn't use these, so let's throw it into a movie and combine a story around it.
Yeah, and that was really cool, so I hope that catches on. It's sad, you know, the late and great Michael Crichton won't be around to write the screenplay for the 4th one or have anything to say about it, but hopefully they do a good job with it. And this is a little off topic, but going to Michael Crichton. I remember when Michael Crichton passed away, it was such a bittersweet day, because it was 2008, it was November 4th, I think, 2008, when Obama was elected. I'm like, finally, good, Obama got elected, but also Michael Crichton died today. And like, nobody said that. Like, it was overshadowed.
It was that thing in like life, there can't be two greats at the same time. Is it one of those?
Exactly, it had to be something bad.
There has to be a trade-off.
It's like when James Brown died. When James Brown died, Gerald Ford died like 2 days later, so nobody remembered that. Yeah. You know? But yeah, I remember, so I was like so sad. I was like, "Why are you sad?" I'm like, "Because Michael Crichton, the greatest author of all, like the great, well, I think the greatest author, not fiction author of all time at least, died." Yeah. You know,
I would agree with you too. I think for as far as fiction goes, I can't think of an author that gets close, because you read a Michael Crichton book and that really sucks you in. Then as soon as you get so excited, you decide to go pick up somebody else's book, and it just never cuts it lots of times.
Yeah, he's just amazing. He really is. He really did his homework before he read books, which I liked about him.
I mean, like, I feel when you finish reading a book, and almost the whole point of like reading Jurassic Park almost is it just adds all this like scientific knowledge to the movie almost, I feel. Because I feel like I like the movie more, like the movie's just a straight up, I love that, but then I feel like there's all these extra details added from the book.
Yeah. You know, he really explains it. He makes it almost to the point where you think that he's a physicist, he's a geneticist. You almost feel like Michael Crichton did that as a job and then wrote a book about it.
And it's like some things that like, I know these bar some people in it, but I love when Ian Malcolm in the book just goes off. He just talks for like 3 or 4 pages.
Yeah, he does that a bunch of the book.
And I just feel like you're learning so much from that.
You are, you know. He's a really interesting character, and that's one thing I did like that Steven Spielberg did, is he did keep the integrity of Ian Malcolm's character in the book. He made him more of a playboy, a ladies' man. Yeah. But it was still great. You know, Jeff Goldblum, and it's hard to really imagine anyone else doing that.
That's like the best part, though. Or I don't know if it's the best part, but I love this part so much, is when they're driving away from the T-Rex, and it has the exact same line from Independence Day, like the "Must go faster."
Must go fast. No, that was first though, right?
No, Jurassic Park was first.
But then they added, I love how they kept. I want to know how many people knew that, because I feel like maybe like because it was still like relatively soon after Jurassic Park, so maybe at least a third of the audience were like, "Hey,
Goldblum again."
Yeah, I want to see him do it again. Like, that's one of the greatest lines. But I still think my favorite line in that movie, I know no one else is going to get this, but it's so funny, is when Lex is going out and sitting in like the little tube.
After like the T-Rex is like knocking down
like,
the...
I don't know why, but I just watched it one day and I laughed my ass off because she's crying or whatever, and she goes, he left us! And Alan Gray goes, but that's not what I'm going to do. Just really slow about it. And it's just so funny. You can't really explain why it's funny.
I feel it's that kind of comedy. It only comes like after you've watched something so many times.
Yeah.
Like you would never get it like the first time. And I think that's how a lot of those kind of lines are in movies. It's like, once you put like the thousands, or I don't know, thousands, but probably hundreds of times of watching the movie.
Yeah. You know, we're like, we have a T-Rex. From your blood.
From your blood. But I'll say Jurassic Park lines like throughout like my days.
Mm-hmm. I will too. Like I
always, it's just it's something there. Just a quote here, a quote there.
You got it, you know.
Now one thing.
Life will find a way.
Life finds a way. Now, what do you think about once you like one thing about seeing it in the theater again? Since I've seen the movie so many times, like I don't have to focus on the characters whatsoever because I know what's going on.
Yeah.
I find the one thing cool about when I was watching it in the theater again is to look at all the scenery and background stuff. Yeah. Because you can't see that really on a TV, you know?
You can't, yeah.
On a 36-inch TV or something, it's just like, it's
I
there,
to
but...
catch that, yeah.
But when you're watching on a big, huge screen, it's just like, I was just looking at all the other background details, and you're just like, look at that.
It did take a lot of detail to it. And then you notice little screw-ups, like Spencer was pointing out, like in the Velociraptor scene with the raptors in the kitchen, you'll notice a hand go out and push one of like the...
Yeah, pushes it like so the thing stands up. And it's kind of funny because I always heard about that, but I could never find it when I was watching it. But I guess when you're watching it, like, especially back in the day,
they made it kind of natural.
Yeah, well, it doesn't. It looks like the tail almost swings back.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time I noticed it was when we were watching it in Modesto on the big screen.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was wondering, I was even talking to some people right before we went to go see Jurassic Park. And I was like, I bet you they're probably gonna like edit that out. That's not gonna be in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still in there. And that was one thing I loved about Jurassic Park. I loved how they didn't add anything to it. I mean, it was 3D. That was like the thing. But there was nothing added. They didn't even fix any of the CG. They left it all the same.
Yep.
All the special effects were all the same. Nothing added. No like eyebrows moving or anything weird like that.
No, it was just perfect, you know.
And I'm glad.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes I feel in Star Wars, the first time they did it, like in 1996 or 5, whenever it was, that was kind of cool. It's like they added some stuff. Even though I will say this, you watch that Star Wars stuff and you kind of see some of those scenes, you're like, that CG doesn't look very good in it.
Yeah.
You know, personally, my favorite version of Star Wars, I like the theatrical versions the most. I like when the lightsaber's still kind of like this pale green color.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember the first time I saw like the special, like, what the fuck? The lightsaber's different. Like, it makes sense that it's blue for like the second one, but like that's not what it was on my VHS copy.
I know they're totally different now.
Actually, technically, the copy I had was actually the Laserdisc copy taped onto a VHS tape.
Oh, really? Huh, that's interesting.
So it's kind of cool because I had the widescreen version on like a VHS tape and it looked pretty sharp, but it was on the
Yeah. Something I noticed about Jurassic Park, the Jurassic Park trilogy is, personally, my favorite dinosaur in this series is the Dilophosaur.
It's only in the first one.
It's only in the first one. I think that's the coolest dinosaur because it spits venom, and what other dinosaur does that, you know? Mm-hmm. And I hope that maybe if they do Jurassic Park 4, they add that dinosaur again. And something else that I think would be cool, that it's in the Lost World book. By the way, I can't emphasize much. Emphasize enough. Read the Jurassic Park books. Anyone out there listening, please read the books.
Especially the first one more than anything else.
Yeah, they are good.
I mean, if you like the first one, you should just read the second one anyway.
I mean, yeah. I'm not going to bash either one of them because they're good. They are good books. Mm-hmm. But there's another thing in the Lost World book. They have this really cool dinosaur towards the end of the
very end of the book.
End of the book that's in the arcade game, actually.
In the Lost World arcade game.
Yeah, but it's this dinosaur that...
So it's like a chameleon.
It's a chameleon dinosaur. It's a carnivore, but they have to hide in this little like shack to get away from it. And then it gets inside the shack, and just a really cool dinosaur, really cool concept. So,
well, that's one thing I always thought was kind of cool. Is like a lot of the Jurassic Park video games carried a lot of the things from the book once again too.
Yeah,
that weren't used. Like if you think about like the compies, they're in like the Jurassic Park games before they're even in the movies.
Yeah.
Because they're in the first Jurassic Park game, like the one for Sega Genesis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were the little tiny ones. Yeah, and I wonder, like the average video game player who bought Jurassic Park did, if they knew what that was when they first.
Or if they read the book or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
Probably. I mean, at the time when those games kind of came out, I feel like they were just kind of sold towards like maybe a 10-year-old audience, kind of give or take.
Yeah, possibly. Something that I noticed when I read the book, because I read the book recently. Before I went and saw it in theaters, was I'm really surprised Toyota turned down the sponsorship of having the Toyota Land Cruiser.
Because in the book, movie. That's what they are.
Yeah, but they're instead they're Ford Explorers. But that just seems so weird. Like you'd think that Toyota would jump on that, but they didn't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and in this amazing.
The only thing.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying like. Probably just, it was just, it's all just a deal thing, obviously. Who's going to want to put their money into the movie?
Yeah, and I guess Toyota didn't, but I feel like if that was made nowadays, Toyota would.
Yeah, I think Toyota must have been, they're probably a bigger company by that point.
Yeah.
Because they weren't in the U.S. yet. They were just, like, import cars.
Uh-huh.
Sounds weird to think, but.
Yeah, they were. In, this really cool copy of the book that I have of Jurassic Park. I don't have, actually. They have it at the library, which I want to get a hold of. They have a Jurassic Park first edition that actually has pictures in it, which is amazing. Like you just kind of like see what the artist's imagination was for scenes in the book, and they have the Land Cruiser. They have the T-Rex biting the Land Cruiser and lifting up in the air and throwing it, which is different than in the movie. In the movie, he pushes it off the cliff, but in the book, he actually picks it up in his jaws and then chucks it into a tree, not over like the side of a ravine or anything like that.
Makes sense why it's not in the movie.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they would put in there. But the other thing about nowadays, see, the one thing I love about Jurassic Park 2 is they use CG for parts, but they didn't like emphasize the entire movie to be CG.
Yeah, and even the third one.
Even the third one still keeps a lot of puppets.
Yeah.
And the thing about that is that makes it look so much more real.
Yeah, it really does.
Because CG, we've always come to this point in movies where like they use CG because like they can.
Yeah.
And almost like the old way to make a movie is like you try to figure out a way around it.
You
had this idea in your mind, and you know you couldn't do that, And by figuring out a way around it, almost made science movies better.
Yeah, keeps the artistic integrity when you keep puppets in the film, I think, especially when it comes to dinosaurs. Because, for example, even though it was cool that they had dinosaurs in the King Kong remake that Peter Jackson did, it was all CG, and it just didn't grab my attention as much. At least the first time I watched
the original King Kong.
Oh yeah, the original
claymation,
was
so
yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, and you know that I'm sure that they watched the Lost World, the old Lost World, with the claymation to make that.
Now, when you were a kid and you first saw that Lost World, like the old show, or the movie, I mean, or movies, well, because you know when you're a kid, you almost have in your mind there can only be one, kind of like concept. Yeah. So like when you see that, like, was this movie a remake? It, like threw me off when it came on like TV. I was like, whoa. There's an original Lost World?
Yeah, I know. That was kind of funny. Michael Crichton makes a shout out to the Lost World in the book. He calls, I think it's a book that Tim is reading. It's called like The Lost World in Time or something like that. Maybe it's like a, exposition for his book that he was going to write after that. But yeah, the reason that the old dinosaurs are like that in the Lost World book, I mean the Lost World 1930s version or whatever, is for a long time paleontologists felt that dinosaurs were slow, dopey creatures. They didn't think they actually moved fast like birds, like they realized later in later in history. Yeah, but that's yeah. I remember watching those old ones, and they're still entertaining because you can see like an old claymation take of dinosaurs. But yeah, for me, there is only one, and it's Jurassic Park. I think they did everything right. And they only improved on it.
Well, sadly enough, there really is. Like, as far as dinosaur movies go, there's no competition for them, really.
No, I mean they have a couple series. Like there was the Land of the Lost TV show in the '70s, and they remade in the '90s, which I love. I love that show.
Oh, the '90s one was so cool.
It was a great one. And then there's that movie Carnotaur that I showed you, like that '90s independent.
The other 1994.
Yeah,
or '90s like.
I want to rewatch. Do you still have that?
No, you had it on VHS.
Did I have it?
No, yeah, because I remember you bought it off eBay on VHS, and it had remember it had that Fantastic Four. There was there was supposed to be a '90s Fantastic Four movie, and it never came out. Remember there was a trailer for that on there.
I remember that.
Yeah, there's some kind of there's always those. There's a handful of low B movies that I always feel like it has dinosaurs in it. Should I just check it out just to see it?
Yeah, I feel like
would it be worth it?
And same with video games, like that Jurassic game that came out for the Wii. I want to try it.
I read reviews on Amazon, and they said it was a pretty good game.
Yeah,
they said it wasn't the most amazing thing, but it gives you a Jurassic kind of a Jurassic Park feel.
Yeah, and for the longest time, I shied away from the Turok series because they got away from dinosaurs and became stupid like alien crap. And now they've become more like mutants, but now some of them at least the recent game for the PS3. Well, not recent now.
Recent
5 years,
8 years ago, or
6 years. It was really cool because they got back to dinosaurs. Yeah, they still had humans and they were on a spaceship at first and things like that. But for most of the game were dinosaurs and the boss was a T-Rex.
Yeah,
you fought a couple times.
See, Turok, I don't mind as long as there's dinosaurs in there. I don't care. You can have space, you can have humans, all that stuff. As long as there's still dinosaurs, they're roaming through there most of the time.
Yeah,
because Turok's just kind of that weird, interesting story of Native Americans traveling through time and. Space and I've never really sat down by only playing the video games of Turok, and then they made that Turok animated movie, which is kind of cool. But it's I never really knew the super ton story of it. Just kind of okay, he's fighting mutants this time, he's fighting dinosaurs this time.
Yeah, I never.
Because I originally thought just by playing the original N64, and I was like, just must be a guy fighting dinosaurs back in the day. And then you get farther in the game, as in about 30 minutes, you're like, oh, there's guns and rocket launchers and lasers and
people.
I'm really confused.
Yeah. It got really, really. There's a Hummer in that game.
See, if you probably read the comics, it makes all sense. But just when you just go straight into the game, it's okay.
No,
this is just
that
badass.
was originally a comic series then. Okay. I've read a couple of the comic books. I remember they were just kind of weird.
I remember weird single issues of them.
Yeah, I had one
as a kid.
Yeah, where he got sucked into a TV of a dinosaur program, and then there were wild women with 4 breasts. I don't know. I remember that in my comic book.
And once again, it's one's if you probably start from the beginning and read your way up, you'll understand. But if you just buy that one random ass issue,
yeah, very weird.
Now, when you watch Jurassic Park, though, this part always makes me sad when I think about it. Every single time I watch it, ever since I've watched it on VHS to DVD, and as the older I get, the sadder the scene just feels. I think it just reminds me of a bottle cap of time. Is right at the very end, when the raptors are attacking them, and then the T-Rex busts in and like kills the raptors, and they're able to escape. And this theme song starts playing, and the T-Rex roars as the banner slowly comes down. It says, "When dinosaurs ruled the earth." Does that part always just make you like a slight tear come to your eye every single time?
Yeah, it does.
Especially in the movie theater. I don't know what it is like.
Yeah,
it always does. And then like as the scene follows with the theme playing throughout it, I guess because there's actually a handful of movies that kind of give me that same feel, but Jurassic Park was usually the strongest one.
Yeah,
and they're always '90s movies, and they always have that uplifting theme, and it's always kind of has a warm feel to it. Yet it's almost kind of like a decline of something.
Yeah.
Straight up, another movie that has that is Waterworld. Sounds weird, but Waterworld always just reminds me of a movie. It's like, I felt that movie, like, whoever the producers were, they just said, be Spielberg.
Yeah. Well, actually, I remember that from
that movie. I mean, like,
Spielberg,
listen to the music in that movie. You're like, oh, this must be John Williams. It's not John Williams. That's some other guy. But
really?
Like, so someone's like, be John Williams.
Oh, yeah.
And it just has that warm feel, has that kind of like that good, and that's the thing I'm always sad about movies nowadays, is most movies nowadays, excluding some, it's just, we live in a time where like they just want to make these really dark, real serious.
Yeah.
Like they take almost like the warmth and like the good, and even like the semi-fantasy out of movies nowadays.
Yeah. And almost like, I know I've bashed this enough, but the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, sorry. Something that bothers me about them is there's no happiness in them. I know it's Batman, but even when I watched like Batman and Robin, which I know everyone out there hates that movie except for me and Spencer.
Yeah.
But they have a warmness to that movie, and I feel good at the end of that movie.
Still has that good 90s warm
but
feel.
I watched Christopher Nolan movies like, Batman flew off into the sea and blew up. Thanks. Great ending, Christopher Nolan. Like, it does not move me at all. That's
well, the one thing
that's
too
probably the reason I don't like
the whole point of Batman is once he chose to become Batman, he doesn't stop until he dies. That's kind of like the whole point of Batman.
Exactly. I don't know what it was, but that's probably why I don't like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. None of them move me. At all. Not one bit. It just, to me, they're all spectacle and special effects.
I've enjoyed I like him more as like Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and then Dark Knight Rises goes on. But the Begins one's like I think is the best one. Yeah. But this has something that's like a really weird trivial fact. Actually, it has nothing to do with this, but it has something to do with Batman.
Yeah. I
was reading the Clint Eastwood biography book that I bought like 6 months ago, and I finally sat down to start reading it. Do you know in the '60s he was offered and he even accepted he was going to play the role of Two-Face?
Yeah, he was going to play Two-Face.
And then, like, for somehow, some way, they didn't have it in there. But that was in his book.
Yeah.
Or not his book, but the biography.
Can you just imagine that? Like, hi, Batman. Hey, Batman! Like, Clint Eastwood become, like, total, like, different voices. You know, he could have even done it, like, in the 90s and replaced Tommy Lee Jones instead of him.
Well, yeah. Well, the problem about the Tommy Lee Jones was I think Tommy Lee Jones could be a good Two-Face if he just wasn't all wacky and weird.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's just like, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
But just that warm feel of movies, though. It's like, I just feel like that's not in movies too much.
Yeah.
Now, there's some movies out there that try to capture that kind of like 80s, 90s feel in a sort of a way, but it still kind of has a dark tone to it. Like, there's that new Judge Dredd movie that came out.
Oh,
but the thing I thought was kind of cool about that movie is it makes it feel like you're reading a Judge Dredd comic almost from like the 80s or watching an 80s movie. Like, it doesn't have that like modern feel. I mean, it's a modern movie, you can tell that. But just the way that things look more has like an 80s look to it, you know?
You know what I give partly to? I give this partly to is the reason that movies are like that is, for the most part, I've noticed that movies have given up on the score. They really have. Like, I got to give credit where credit's due.
Perfect example is Kevin Smith was talking about this. He had the guy who did the score for the Dark Knight Returns animated movies.
Yeah, and
he was saying that he was like, you know, it's been almost like 20 years. Like he's like, think about the last movies. Like he's like, think about the Avengers. Can you hum the score to the Avengers movie? No, it's like it's there, but you just don't. It doesn't stick in your mind like the Batman theme from 1989.
Yeah.
Or the Jaws theme, or Star Wars, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, anything by John Williams, or
anything by.
Or I got to say, what's his name? Danny Elfman.
But even think about Danny Elfman. Can you hum the Spider-Man theme?
Yeah.
You know, think of the last movies Danny Elfman kind of did. I think he did the Incredible Hulk or something. Maybe not that one. I don't know.
I can't think of it recently though, but. You could think, like, for example...
I will say, I can think of the Batman one in, like, just because... Maybe because I've heard it a bunch of times, but the one in, like, the Christopher Nolan ones, like the Hans Zimmer one, there's, like, the dun, 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 dun.
Oh, I haven't heard it. I don't remember that one, actually.
I remember that one. And then, you know what movie is... did you see Prometheus yet?
No, not yet.
That Ridley Scott movie? Okay. The score of that movie's done by Hans Zimmer, too. And And that movie has, when you watch that movie, it has a really good theme that you kind of like remember. There's about 2 or 3 songs in there, and they just the variations of them throughout it.
Yeah.
And that one has a really cool theme. But most of all, yeah, movies nowadays, especially video games.
Yeah, video games
especially
too.
Video games.
I feel like nowadays they just get some weird guy to like make sounds on a keyboard, and then they get some weird. Sometimes they overuse like the choir thing and make it kind of stupid. Like for example, Final Fantasy VII was great. Halo. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII was great when they did at the very end of Final Fantasy VII with the one winged angel, or that song's called the. That's cool. Like it sounds cool because you don't hear that very much. But now it's just overused and it just feels cheap to me. Mm-hmm. But video games, like who can't forget, bum 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 ba da 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 da. Everyone remembers that.
Even the Jurassic Park game themes and like video games.
Yeah, it's great games.
But nowadays, like you just think about like the older games, like Mega Man, Castlevania, Mario, Zelda, Metroid. You can name off any of those things. But now think of all the modern games.
Yeah, can't think of it.
Can you think of like the Uncharted theme? Can you think of like the Gears of War theme, the Halo theme?
No.
Even the modern Resident Evil game theme.
They just feel like background music.
They have themes.
It just feels
but
like
still, I can think of Resident Evil 1. I can always picture the music in my like in the stage room. It's like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
It's like thank Christ that music's playing. I
know like
the
ocarina, like dun 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 dun, and the ocarina. Like it's cool, but yeah, it just feels nowadays. For the most part, movies, someone's sitting in a dark room with a synthesizer and makes some weird sounds, and they call that a score for movies and video games, and it just really takes me out of the movies. It really does. But yeah, I always remember like bum, 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 like the Batman like '90s theme. Bum, 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 dun, 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 like I love that theme, The
Indiana Jones theme, anything like that.
Yeah, Indiana Jones. Yeah, it's just great, But
I just think like movies. I just see recently. It's like. They don't. I mean, if they have a theme, it just doesn't stick in your mind. Like it works while you're watching it, but it just doesn't have that like. When you hear that music, you instantly know what you're coming into. Almost.
Yes, and I feel like a lot of times movies rely on contemporary artists or like taking a song that's popular now.
And that's the same thing of commercials too. That's one of the biggest things.
Yeah,
kind of problem in the wild.
Ruin songs and I like that sometimes. Like for example, I love it in comedies. I think it works great in comedies.
Well, there's a time and a place, but it's like almost like by putting like music or like contemporary music in commercials, that always ruins the job for jinglist writers.
Yeah, that's true.
Jingle writers, not jinglist.
Jinglist. What do you do? I'm a jinglist. Yeah,
that's what they are in the South.
Both Mr. Bojangles, janglist.
He's a janglist.
Jinglist, yeah.
But even in movies too, it's like. Especially in trailers too, it's like whenever they just kind of like just whip a song on off your like MP3 player. There you go. There's the trailer set.
Oh yeah, Jim likes that song. Jim's the director, so he knows he's going to put it on there. There are certain people in the movies that know how to do it well, like Quentin Tarantino. He knows how to make music great, and he knows how to put songs in movies.
Like Quentin Tarantino might also be the blame for like that trend in that, but he did it right. It's the people that followed it.
People followed it and just made it stupid a lot.
It's kind of like The Matrix. The Matrix was movies like The Matrix is a great movie, but the movies that try to copy The Matrix for the last years after it, it's just like you can kind of avoid a lot of those ones.
Yeah.
I'm not saying some of them might be okay, but
yeah.
But overall. The whole point is that Jurassic Park has a fantastic theme. Jurassic Park will live in my dreams.
It will always be in my dreams, yeah. It's a great movie. It's as an actor myself, I hope one day if they're still making Jurassic Park movies, I can be in a Jurassic Park movie. It'd be an amazing thing to do.
I'd love to be in a Jurassic Park movie or a Jurassic Park game or even
anything. Jurassic Park.
Care.
Jurassic Park the musical, that will never happen, hopefully.
Yeah.
But something. Jurassic Park. But yeah, great. That's all I can really say.
Best movie ever. I can't wait to see it again. I'm gonna watch the 2D showing.
And
maybe go see the IMAX showing.
Please go see Jurassic Park. Get enough people to see it. Read the books. Get an interest for it. So Jurassic Park 4 comes out. Please
spend as much money as you possibly can on Jurassic Park. The more money you spend, the higher the chances Jurassic Park 4 is.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear that it's supposed to be coming out sometime, but you hear those things all the time. Like, it's gonna come out in 2014 or 15.
I want to see.
But then again, like I've heard that many. I've heard. It's like Sin City 2, 2 and 3. I've heard that since like 2007. Here's 2014 coming on.
Nothing's happened yet.
Exactly.
So anyway.
So yeah. See Jurassic Park. Love it. Read it. Play it. Watch it. Know it.
Love dinosaurs again.
Yes. Bring dinosaurs into your house. And into your bed.
Into the bedroom, yeah. Dig their bones up. Bring them into your house.
Share them. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Cisco Garcia.
And we will see you some other time.